Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I hope you're enjoying Thanksgiving weekend. Yes, I'm still wearing this because I'm so hot in this right now. It's been a great weekend. Crushed Thursday, crushed Friday, crushed yesterday. So lock number 1 was Oregon. We get the W. Lock number 2 was Ohio State. You get the W. Lock number 3 was the UNLV San Jose State over 51. It was a nice low 50s, and they scored 68. So that's how my locks to go. One lock today in the pros. We've already nailed. We're 3-1 in the pros already with this crazy week, and a few more good ones today. Let's go through the line. So as of 11:20, hey Eric. Well, the free picks, Kansas City under, Oakland, O'Connell, KC's got a very strong defense, and they're not really scoring like they should. So I think that's a bit high for an Oakland game without, they don't have anything. So definitely like that. So I'm so hot this weekend. So far, we won Dallas, we won Seattle, we won the Miami under, we lost Detroit, we won the Detroit over, 3 locks, boom, 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 Oregon, Ohio State, and the UNLV over. And we got one today. All right, Jacksonville, 1.5, 47.5 hasn't changed yet. Indy, 2.5, 44.5. That hasn't moved. We got New England 4.5, 35.5. That's moved from 3.5. Who the hell would be betting on Mac Jones? This was 34 last night, so it's up to 35.5. Interesting. Tennessee 3.5, 36.5. Hasn't moved. Pittsburgh 2.5, 36.5, up from 1.5. 36.5. New Orleans is up to 2.5, 42.5. They must have got somebody back because this was 1.5. LA 2.5, 45.5. I bet this game when Arizona was favored on Thursday, so I'm in pretty good shape here. 45.5, but I don't know that I like it. I like the Rams being the dog. I couldn't believe that, but I don't like it as much now that they're 2.5-point favorites. But I still think they need to win. Denver 1.5, 37.5. With Cleveland, Denver's been very hot. Philly 3, 48.5. It's a good game. KC, I gave you 9.5, 43.5. That really hasn't moved. Well, it was 8.5, I guess. Now it's 9.5, 43.5 hasn't moved. Baltimore 3, 48.5. That's moved. That was 46.5. And the Vikings 3 and 43.5 to the Bears. I heard Walter Payton's playing today, except for he's dead, unfortunately. What's going on? Bobby Bo. How was LSU yesterday? Yeah, well, have some water. Get the sugar out of your system. Well, that all in at the end, right? You needed the whole fourth quarter. It was a great environment. Yeah, I'm sure it was. It always looks nice. Bama and Washington were close but got the wins. Yeah, but they didn't cover. Bama, did you see the end of the Bama game? So Bama scores a touchdown that should never have been. The receiver pushes off, a blatant push off that if it was an Auburn guy doing it to an Alabama guy, would have been offensive pass interference. They don't call it. I mean, there's no way. The guy's covered and he pushes blatantly. Oh, well, it's the Nick Saban rules. We don't call any penalties on Alabama. Then, so I got Alabama minus 7 or 8. Then he throws an interception, and the guy scores on it. He must have stepped out of bounds at the 2-yard line because they didn't count the touchdown, but they didn't show the replay or any. They just said it doesn't count. They didn't really get into it. I think looked like he was close to stepping out of bounds, but I was going to win the bet in the last 30 seconds on 2 touchdowns, so it was amazing. Asshole steps out of bounds at the 2. Doesn't he know we got him in a teaser? So, yeah, Washington, well, they play Oregon this week. Oregon's going to kill them. So I think your Final Four, it's Georgia, I guess, Florida State, Michigan, and Oregon. I don't know how you can leave Florida State out. Yeah, I know their quarterback's out, but that really shouldn't have anything to play in it. Georgia's by far the best. Oregon's a real close too. That'll be a great game. Michigan, I don't know. They lost. Apparently, they have a good offensive lineman. I don't know. I haven't heard much about him. Got his knee tore up, and then I don't know. Michigan, McCarthy. It was the worst refereeing I've ever seen in my life. The guy was sitting out of bounds with his foot in bounds, but his ass out of bounds, and they called it a completion. And you're like, do these refs understand any of the rules? Do they know what they're doing? They're the most incompetent refs I've ever seen in my life in the Big Ten. These guys are ridiculous. Good morning, Real D. I mean, I couldn't believe the call. The Ohio State guy's ass is on the ground, out of bounds. And because his foot's inbounds and he catches the ball and he's already lying down and they call it a completion, and you're stressing it. And then some of the calls, the reviews were ridiculous. I don't remember which game it was, and they're going to an instant replay on a catch. The guy catches the ball, takes is down, takes 2 steps, and they got to go to a replay. The replay's got to go away. It doesn't serve its purpose. 3 times in the row can't be a fluke. I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, my 3 locks won: Oregon, Ohio State, and the over in the Vegas game. Those were my 3 locks. I got one today. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's all matchups. It's got nothing to do with that. We don't really care about that. We care about, Washington beat Oregon. We're going to bet Washington this week? Yeah, good luck with that. I haven't seen the line yet, and I don't know where the game's at. I think the game's at Washington. I think that's the way the Pac-10 works it. Although it used to be North against South, so they'd have been playing Arizona, and they would have had a hard time with Arizona. My Arizona team they put a 50 up on Arizona State. I loved it. All right, let's go into injuries. So we've already got 4 games down, so let's see. Arizona, yeah, they're fine. A lot of four outs in a row: safety, DL, cornerback, wide receiver. I'd look, but they don't have anybody good but Kyler Murray. Okay, Atlanta, Heineken's with a hamstring. And that's about it. So I don't know. Atlanta's starting the other. Baltimore, Andrews, the tight end, is out. Beckham is probable with the shoulder. Couple more guys out, linebackers. Zach Flowers, who I don't know why you get a guy out of Boston College. Really, this is your wide receiver choice? Probable. And these guys don't know how to draft. That's why these teams suck so bad. Duvernay, probable. Bateman, probable. The receivers. Linebacker out. Ojabo, well, he's been out. All right, Buffalo today. We've got a bunch of probables. They're taking it serious. Micah Hyde's playing. Josh Allen probable at the shoulder. Yeah, keep running, Josh. Let's do a Jordan Travis. So I guess the backup quarterback must have been okay. They didn't kill him, but they did get the win over Florida. They probably ran the ball 50 times would be my guess. And let the defense go. Hey, G. Yeah, Jay, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, too. You missed out the Locks. They finally won. See, you didn't play them, and they won. I was most proud of the UNLV over. That was the Oregon one was easy. Ohio State was easy. Today, free pick Kansas City under. I know you're in tune on that. Milano's out. So Buffalo, it's a big game with Philly. I don't know if I can trust Buffalo as a road dog at Philly. Philly just beat KC. Carolina. Wow, 5 outs. 2 cornerbacks, a linebacker, a safety, and a tight end are all out today. Now, are they starters? Jay Chin is out. Oh, yeah. He's a safety, by the way. I mean, who knows? Carolina's so bad. Steve Young, probable with a thigh. Well, who cares? They're better without him. 3 more linebackers. 4 linebackers are out. Holy shit. 5 line. They got their top 5 linebackers are out. 2 linebackers will probable. So Carolina's got nothing today. Another linebacker out. The Bears are pretty healthy. Just Foreman is doubtful for the Viking game. Cincinnati, I don't know what do you do without Burrow. And they're starting Browning, who's from Washington, who's sucked. I can't believe this is their backup. How pathetic at this. You got to go to this guy. It's amazing how bad the league is. 2 defensive tackles are probable. Offensive tackle doubtful, and they need all the offensive tackles they can get. T. Higgins out with the hamstring. That's about it. What's Cincinnati going to do with Browning? You can't lose a guy like Burrow. This is the problem. You got Burrow, you better have a backup. Cleveland, 2 linebackers, probable. They start out the gun, probable. Goodwin, wide receivers out, cornerback out, bunch of probables. A safety, IR, Watson's IR, a guard, a cornerback, an O tackle, a D tackle. They're all out. Chubb's out. I mean, just a lot. They got 15 players out. Dallas, we saw my Denver team. Probable. See, you can see a real team here. All their players are probable. They're all like playing for Sean Payton, my man. The coach makes a huge difference. As you can see, the Jets offensive coordinator fucked up Russell Wilson last year, fucking up Zach Wilson this year. I mean, to get killed by Miami, that's ridiculous. And then you got your IR guys. They got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 outs. This is crazy. They don't want to let them practice. They don't want to let them play in the preseason because they don't want them to get injured. And each team has 15, 20 guys out with injuries. You tell me, how good does it work? Unbelievable. Yeah, Detroit showed you what they really are. I don't think they'll win. Is there a bet I can make that they won't win a game the rest of the year? I'd like to put 100 on that. Who they're going to beat? Lose to the Bears, 2 to the Vikings, Denver, Dallas, New Orleans. Who are they going to beat? They'll go 8-9, and I'll love it. I'll just laugh and listen to these idiots on the radio. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah. As visitors, like usual, not as players. Houston's got Jacksonville. Again, we don't know anybody on this team. God, it's so pathetic. Casey Keenum they got as a backup. That's smart. Although he's hurt. The rest, I have no idea. I couldn't. T. Harrison, the fullbacks on IR. Nobody knows him. Indy is playing. Who's Indy playing? Indy's playing Tampa Bay, and they're actually favored. The only reason I like them is because of Minshew, not because of Richardson. A bunch of questionables. That's like G. Avery, the defensive ends on IR. Yeah, we all know him. Jacksonville, couple of wide receivers. One's out, one's questionable. But it's all Trevor Lawrence is not questionable with his knee anymore. And just the running back is there. Kansas City, Hardman's out. Tony's out. They got 2 wide receivers out. This is good for our under. I didn't take that into consideration. They just don't score anyway, so that's even better. They'll be running the ball. McKinnon, the running back's out. Let's see. J. Ross and other receivers out. Linebacker Bolton's out. So we got some help with all the wide receivers out for KC that Mahomes wasn't throwing to anyway. Really, it's just Kelsey. San Diego. Keenan Allen's probable. That's good. Herbert, he's got the finger, but it's on the left hand, and he's been playing with it, so I don't even know why he's listed. Bosa is out, which is okay. We like him over today. Muse, the other linebacker's out. And Mike Williams, he's been out for a while. A lot of injuries. The Rams, anybody important? Aaron Donald, anybody? Cooper Kupp's probable with an ankle. That's probably why the line's 2.5. Oakland, Crosby's doubtful with the knee, which hurts our under a little bit. But as long as O'Connell's the quarterback, that helps our under. Miami already played Minnesota. Both quarterbacks, Mullins and Hall, are now probable, but from what I can see, they're still starting. Dobbs for some reason. When a guy like Dobbs is your starter, this is how bad the league is. Jefferson's questionable. Bobby, did you talk to Jefferson yesterday at the LSU game? Is he going to play? Do they let you go on the sidelines and call plays, Bobby? They probably. Bobby Bowe is in attendance. You go there. Joe Burrow was probably there. The Giants. Who do they play? New England. We don't know anybody on the Giants except for Barkley, and he's not on here. So again, Danny DeVito and Barkley. All right, the Jets, they're done. New England, a lot of questionables. 2 defensive backs questionable. DL, linebacker, cornerback, another linebacker. The whole team's questionable. They're really playing for Belichick. I love it. Bote out. Was Bote at the game yesterday? Did you sit next to him? No, not much. New Orleans. Lattimore's out. That's a key. He's cornerback. He's all pro. I was going to say all-American. Derek Carr, probable with a concussion. Mike Thomas is out, the wide receiver, unfortunately. Jeff Graham, the tight end's questionable with an illness. Philadelphia, defensive tackle Williams is out. Safety's out. Good. AJ Brown, the receiver, is probable. Swift is probable. That's good. Jones is probable. The other wide receiver, Kobe Dean, is out with the foot. And Pittsburgh, Mika Fitzpatrick's out. That's it. The Niners played. Seattle played. Tampa Bay. A lot of probables. Goodwin, receiver, probable. And that's it. Nothing big. Tennessee, they don't have anybody. Derrick Henry, probable with an ankle. Tannehill's probable. And they're staying with Levis for some reason. Incredibly bad coaching. I love that. Well, let's see what we have. If you don't know by now, what do you do? How do you coach? Hey, very good, John. So that's what we have. Let's walk down the list. New Orleans, Atlanta. New Orleans is 2.5-point favorites. I got 23-20 New Orleans. They're both under teams with 20 and 22 defenses. Carr against the Riddler. Let me double check the starting quarterback. So there's a site I found. NFL starting lineups right here. So let's refresh it. And let's see if there's anything. Well, we don't care about Thursday. All right. So it's Carr against Riddler. Kamara's playing. Olave. And then they got Thomas out. Drake London, Von Jefferson. Okay. So really, New Orleans, Atlanta. Pitt, Cincinnati, it's Pickett against Browning. I never thought Pickett would be a mismatch to Browning. Jacksonville, Houston, Lawrence against Stroud. Tampa Bay, Indy, Mayfield against Minshew. New England is Giants. Mac Jones against Danny DeVito. Why is Mac Jones? Now, you've got Zappy, which we know is good. Why are you starting Mac Jones? At what point do you realize that Mac Jones sucks? I don't understand. This is where I lose Belichick. You put him out, you think you're going to win, even against the Giants with Mac Jones? He's got like 10 touchdowns and 10 picks. Carolina, Tennessee, Bryce Young against Levis again. Why are you playing Levis instead of Tannehill? We can see what we got. Well, he wasn't anything at Kentucky, so what the fuck are you looking at? Henry is playing. I don't know who their receivers are. Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins, Westbrook, and more. Who the hell are those guys? The Rams in Arizona, Stafford, I don't know, Williams, the running back, Cooper Kupp, and Naku are playing. Kyler Murray, James Conner. I don't know who M. Brown is for Arizona. He's questionable. And Zach Pascal, the other receiver, is questionable. Cleveland, Denver, DTR. They needed you yesterday at UCLA. They scored 7 on a terrible Cal defense. Ford, Amari Cooper, who sucks, and that's it. And Russell Wilson, Jay Williams, Sutton, Judy. So Denver's healthy. Thompson, Robinson against Russell Wilson. I'll take Russell Wilson. KC, Mahomes, Pacheco, Watson, Rice, Scantling, and Kelsey against O'Connell, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Adams. They're really playing O'Connell. Oh, my God. Buffalo, Philly, Josh Allen, Cook, Diggs, Shakir, Kincaid. Against Hurts, Swift, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Julio Jones. Where did they dig him up from? You mean he doesn't have the pulled hamstring he's had for 10 years? Baltimore, San Diego, Lamar, Gus Edwards, Zay Flowers questionable, Bateman and Beckham questionable, but it looks like they're both playing. Against Herbert, Eckler, Keenan Allen, Johnson, and that's all I care about. And the Bears, Fields, Herbert, DJ Moore, that's all we would know, against Dobbs, Madison, what the fuck is going on in this game? So I got my guys back, and I'm still gonna start. I'm still starting Dobbs, who got benched by Arizona. Nothing makes sense. He couldn't start for either Oregon or Washington. They do realize that, right? All right, so New Orleans, Atlanta. New Orleans 2.5, a terrible road favorite. Both teams are bet against. Atlanta, home dog, division game. Carr against the Riddler. Probably an under game, and I probably like the dog just because it'll probably be a close game, 23-20. Pitt, Cincinnati. Two under teams. Pitt with the 20 defense. Cincinnati 23. Pickett against Browning, who sucked at Washington. Got drafted by somebody and then cut, and he's been out of the league for a while. What the fuck is this guy doing there? Pitt 2.5, 36.5. I got 17-13 Pitt. I don't where are they going to score? They couldn't score when Burrows was hurt. I don't see them scoring. Pitt with the 20 defense, probably an under game, and Pitt getting 3.5, but at Cincy, Pickett, probably an under game. Carolina, Tennessee. Carolina's a Z team, 28 defense. Young against Levis. God knows why. Tennessee's an under team. Laying 3.5, 36.5. I got 17-10 Tennessee. I mean, where are you going to get the points? All right, Henry will probably score a little. Carolina's defense sucks. I don't see how you can bet Carolina in the game, and I don't see how you can bet Tennessee in the game. You got two bullshit quarterbacks, and Carolina's defense sucks. Maybe Tennessee gets in the 20s. I don't see Tennessee doing it, or Carolina doing anything. Tennessee with the good defense should shut them out. So, 17-10, it should be low scoring. Tampa Bay, Indy, Tampa, the under team, 20 defense. Indy's the over team with the 25 defense. Somehow Indy scores with Minshew. I don't know. They're laying 2.5, 44.5. Mayfield against Minshew. I think this will be a close game, 27-21, somewhere in that neighborhood. Probably goes over because Indy seems to score, and they got a 25 defense. So taking it like that. New England and the Giants neither team could win a game in the Big Ten. They're both Z teams. Jones against Danny DeVito. We've got New England's 4.5, 35.5. Why is New England favored here? I got 17-13 New England just because somebody had to win the game. You got a 26 defense in the Giants and a 24 with New England. Now, the Giants just beat Washington because they got 3 interceptions because they played Thurston Howell III, which you can't rely on. You can't rely on Jones. 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. You're going to rely on that guy? So I don't see that. I don't know how you bet New England here. I'm not sure how you bet the Giants here. I think the only way you can play this game's under, but even after last week, they went over with Washington. So I don't know how you play this game. You really defensively, this is an over, a 24 defense and a 26 defense. Offensively, both quarterbacks suck. So I don't know what to tell you on this game. I got 17-13 New England. It could be 27-24 the Giants. I mean, not sure. Jacksonville, Houston, both teams are even. Jacksonville with a 20 defense, Houston a 21. Lawrence against Stroud. Jacksonville's laying 1.5. Over under 47.5. I got Jacksonville winning 30-27. Jacksonville, some reason, scores with Trevor Lawrence. I think he just runs around a lot. He runs for touchdowns because his quarterbacking, he doesn't throw for a lot. So I see that as he runs for a lot. It's mostly running Etney. Houston, they got a 21 defense. They got a pretty good defense. I don't see how Houston can win, but, Jacksonville, I can't trust them either. So I got 30-27. I think over 41 probably gets you there, but I wouldn't bet on Jacksonville and I wouldn't bet on Houston. See, again, you have a lot of what are we trying to do here? We're trying to assume the outcome, right? We're trying to figure out the assumed outcome. I think that's the words I use. And I don't know what you assume here. You tell me. 30-27, Jacksonville. It could be 30. It could be 27-20, Houston, the same thing. So to assume the outcome of this game, there's so much variables that you have no idea. Makes it extremely difficult. So Stroud's been throwing interceptions lately. He had 0. Now he's got 4. Probably get a few more today. And he's probably crying because Ohio State lost yesterday. Cleveland, Denver, 200 teams. Denver minus 1.5, 37.5. Thompson Robinson from UCLA probably crying today also against Russell Wilson. Wisconsin probably happy today. And NC State. So he got a double win yesterday. Cleveland with the 18 defense, Denver with the 22. They've been low scoring except for somehow in the Cleveland-Baltimore game. It was a 60-point game, which was an outlier. The expected outcome I got is Denver 20, Cleveland 13. Sean Payton's got the team playing well. Their defense, I watched the last quarter of that Minnesota game. They were crushing it. It was like a Michigan-Ohio State game. They were just beating on the Minnesota receivers, and these were really hard, strong tackles. Denver at home, I got winning 20-13. Again, Thompson Robinson's not ready. He's looking for Stanford, and he's getting Denver. He's getting Russell Wilson. Denver's offense is playing better. Their defense is much better. Forget the 70-point game against Miami. They got Miami again, they'd tear them up. So I got 20-13 Denver, low-scoring game. 37.5, 43.5. Maybe it gets there, but now you got to bet on Thompson Robinson. Good luck. He's not going to light up this Denver defense, that's for sure. And Cleveland, so it should be a defensive battle. The Rams in Arizona. Rams are actually an under team with a 22 defense. Stafford against Murray. Arizona's the Z team with Dobbs. Now you got Murray, so all the trends are really gone except for the defensive ones. LA gives up 22. Arizona gives up 26. LA 2.5, 45.5. I just think Stafford wins the game. I got him 31-20. I've already bet LA as a dog on Thursday, which is why you bet the games early. I didn't give a shit about Cooper Kupp playing or not. I still like, as long as Stafford's playing, as long as Aaron Donald's playing, I'm betting the Rams. They have to win, although they're probably out of it. But, there's still 5 or 6 games left. Arizona, Murray, so I've already got LA as the dog. I don't like him as much, laying 2.5. I think maybe you go, I got 31-20, so maybe you go over on the game. 39.5 with Murray and Stafford should probably get there. KC, Oakland, your free play, go under. KC, the B team, laying 9.5, 43.5. The 16 defense, and that's why I do the defense the way I do it. You don't score on Kansas City. Very tough defense. Look at Philly last week. It was a low-scoring game. What was it? It was 21-17 with Philly. They play a 38 with Philly in that offense, and here you got them against Oakland. So there is methods to my madness, and you see I do look at the other games, the last few games, and you can just see Oakland, an under team anyway, gives up 21 in O'Connell against Mahomes. I got KC winning 20-10. Again, love the under in the game, 49.5. Where's that? How are they going to get that? I don't like that. The defensive tackle for Oakland is doubtful, but they've been playing stronger defense lately, Oakland, and I don't think Oakland really scores in the game, maybe a touchdown against this. This is a much improved defense. So maybe you get 30 by KC and 7 by Oakland. Oakland's not going to light it up. Buffalo, Philly. Buffalo statistically an A team with 4 losses. See, we don't rank them based on record. We base them based on points. So they score a lot. They give up 17. We got Allen against Hurts. Philly's a B team statistically, but they're an A just as much. They went to KC and won. They're an A team. 22 defense. Not as strong as they should be with all the Georgia players on it. Philly -3, 48.5. I got Philly winning 31-27. So definitely a high-scoring game. Buffalo doesn't have the defense to handle Philly. Philly with the Madoff play should be fine. And, and Buffalo's certainly going to score on them. They're not the same defense. So look for Buffalo to score Philly. So 31-27 seems about right. Baltimore, San Diego. Baltimore an A team, 16 defense. San Diego an over team, 24 defense, and they don't have Boza. Baltimore laying 3, 48.5. I got 27-26 Baltimore. So FYI, it's an over game. Lamar against Herbert. Let's see how Baltimore does against a good quarterback. You can't count the Lions and some of these other ones. And they were losing to Burrow until they got hurt. They're on the road. We know San Diego scores, and 27-26, maybe Baltimore wins. If Lamar needs it at the end, they don't get it. Now, they played a 31-30 with Cleveland, and last week was a high-scoring game with Baltimore. Cincinnati, they played a 34-20. So they should definitely this game could get into the 30s without a problem. I don't see a 10-0 game here. So I think Baltimore, since he's got a pretty good defense, so I see Baltimore here. San Diego without Boza, they don't seem to play defense. It's the coach. He's a horrible coach, but Herbert should be able to. At home, they'll have, they won't have the crowd noise to worry about. So this is definitely a 50-point game, 48 down to 42. Yeah, I love the over here. And the Bears and the Vikings, 2 E teams. Fields against Dobbs. I almost think Fields is the better of the 2 quarterbacks. Again, Fields couldn't start for a Pac-10 team. We got mini -3, 43.5. Dobbs is actually favored. He played well at Denver last week. Give him credit for that. Denver's defense. But what he's doing is he's not throwing. He's running the ball, right? So he goes around the end and runs for 10 yards. He's scoring touchdowns by going back to pass and then running it in. So he's like Trevor Lawrence. He can't quarterback, but he's running the ball in. So they're scoring, which is what Fields does. Fields can't hit the broadside of a burn, although he is hitting, R.J. Moore. He is throwing to him pretty accurately. They had the Lions by the ropes, let them off, no defense. I think this game, I got 24-23 mini. I think the game goes over 43.5. And I think I like the Bears. I think I like the Bears in 9. I don't know that many blows them out. Again, they look good against the Lions. Fields came back pretty strong. Mostly running, a little bit of quarterbacking. But when they needed it against the Lions, here's where Fields has the problem. When you need to throw the ball against the Lions last week or today against Minnesota or tomorrow, when they need to throw the ball and he can't run, he sucks. He got strip sacked. Why did he get strip sacked? Because he couldn't recognize the guy coming at him from the outside. And instead of running the other way or tucking the ball and taking the sack, he's looking downfield and he's oblivious to the guy. What did Tom Brady do? What does Aaron Rodgers do? What does Burrow do? You always think Burrow's about to get crushed, and he kind of moves 6 inches in the pocket, avoids the sack, and hits Chase for touchdowns. This is what I bitch about with the Alabama guys and the Ohio State guys. They don't know how to feel the pressure and move, right? They get sacked. What did we say about Dobbs in the playoffs last year? He didn't even recognize that the Jacksonville player was there, and he gets hit, and it's an open hand, and the guy fumbles, and then the guy takes it in for a touchdown. They lose by 2. This is what I get at when I tell you that these quarterbacks suck, is they don't recognize blitzes. They don't feel the pressure. They don't move up in the pocket. That's what Montana does. That's what Brady does. That's what Manning did. That's the great quarterbacks. Drew Brees, they feel the pressure and adjust. These guys don't know how to feel the pressure. It's not something you can be taught. You either feel the guy or you don't. And if you don't feel it, you can't play quarterback, because you have to move around in the pocket like Brady did. That's what was so key about Brady. So those are your games today. The free pick is Kansas City under. I'm betting it on Kansas City's defense. Kansas City with a 16 defense. Oakland can't score anyway. I don't think Oakland scores in the game. Kansas City, maybe they get 7, and then KC is not scoring anyway. They got 2 receivers out. They don't have receivers anyway. All they got is Kelsey. Look for them to run the ball more. And against Oakland, I don't know what Oakland's going to do with O'Connell. What do you think you're going to? What do you think he's going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns? Are you insane? Here's my teaser trends this year and last year. So it's just a 2-year trend, which again, we can't include Carolina. We can't include Indy. We can't include Houston. We can't include Tennessee. San Diego, the best play team, you bet on them in a teaser. San Diego, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Houston, Seattle, and KC. Just bet them. And if you notice, the best teams, the playoff teams, win the games, cover the spread. The play against teams, this is ridiculous. The play against teams for the last year and then last year, so the last 20 games, 16, and we're week 11. So about last 25 games. New England, this is bet against. So New England, take the Giants. New England, Arizona, Washington, Carolina, New Orleans, Chicago, Tampa, the Rams, but Stafford was injured a lot. He's back. I got New Orleans twice. Atlanta, Miami, Oakland, San Diego, and KC. So San Diego and KC kind of play really close games. Oakland. So if we notice, New England, Arizona, Washington, Carolina, Chicago, Atlanta, Oakland, all the Z teams are on here. So gets to the moral of the story. The Z teams you bet against, you bet against weakness and take strength. That's the art of war, and that's what we do, and that's why we're successful. So those are your picks. Again, the starting quarterbacks: Carr against Riddler on New Orleans, Atlanta; Pitt, Cincy; Pickett against Browning. Are you fucking kidding me with Browning? Young against Levis, Carolina, Tennessee; Mayfield, Minshew, Tampa, Indy; Jones and DeVito, New England. I don't know how you could even want. I don't know if they'll score in the game. I think that's such an under game. Where are you going to get points? And against Washington, I think they got like interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions. Jacksonville, Houston, Lawrence and Stroud; Cleveland, Denver; DTR against Wilson. I do like DTR from UCLA, but they're not playing Stanford today. They're playing the Broncos. LA, Arizona; Stafford and Murray. Good game. KC, Oakland; Mahomes against O'Connell. Really? Buffalo, Philly; Allen against Hurts. Baltimore, San Diego; Lamar and Herbert. should be a real good game. And then Chicago, Minnesota, Fields against Dobbs, two Bush League quarterbacks that shouldn't be in the league. So you have some good games, Allen and Hurts, Lamar and Herbert, with NFL quarterbacks, and we like them over. And then you've got, Lawrence and Stroud, Jones and DeVito, Young and Levis. I mean, it's just so bad. Very, 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 very weak. So I am having such a hot week. 2-1 Thursday, 7-0 Friday, cleaned up yesterday. So yesterday I have Kansas over. I have UCF, winner, West Virginia, winner. I lose Kansas State. I didn't know there was a snowstorm there. And look at Iowa State puts up 42 points against Kansas State. That was unbelievable. The free play and the lock, Ohio State. Louisville loses to Kentucky. Shocking. Northern Illinois is over the Z team. Kent. LSU. I didn't play the game because I was waiting for the quarterback and it was noon, so I couldn't play it. I liked LSU laying 6.5 more than the over when I knew Alex told us the backup quarterback for A&M wasn't playing either. If he played, I'm going over. He's out, so I don't know who the third string quarterback is. I guess he's one of these dual guys because he ran for 200 yards. And they do go over, and they needed 28 in the fourth quarter to get over. I have Troy over Southern Miss. So I did play Troy back because they're playing a 35 in Southern Miss, and they hammered them. The third lock, UNLV, San Jose State, 57.5, over 51.5. And they're both over teams, and the score was 36-31. It was a 67. I love that one. That's what I look for. That's what I'm saying. You got two over teams like those. Those are very explosive teams. UNLV's the top team in the league, and then San Jose State and Boise are next, and Air Force. And that was a beautiful play. And I really didn't see the score until the final. It was 36-31. So I was like, oh, that's, I knew I just needed 50. That's what I look at. Let's see. Georgia State, App State, I go over 63. That one goes to 75 also. That's a winner. James Madison over Coastal Carolina. James Madison. Tennessee blows out Vanderbilt. Arizona, I have big and two teasers over Arizona State. Spread went from 10 to 12. So I don't know. Why isn't Vegas saying, wait a minute, we can't? They're betting on Arizona. We need Arizona State. They put up 54 in Arizona State. I loved it. I did lose Alabama, but I thought I won it. I'm laying 7.5. Okay, I lost. They're down. They scored the touchdown on a push-off bullshit. Interception, and I'm running it in the end zone. I'm going, oh, my God, I won. And I think I win 33, and then they don't show the play. I think the guy stepped out of bounds at the 2 instead of cutting in and getting the touchdown, and I would have won. So I thought I was going to win. I don't know what happened there. Alabama didn't come, and they had to win, and I was hoping they would have lost. Georgia's going to kill them. Let's see. Then we got the night games. Washington does not come through against Washington State. I actually played the game over 65, and I don't know. Washington just where's their offense? So Oregon's going to kill them. I play the under Florida State under 49 to under 55 because both quarterbacks are out. So the logical thing to do. They don't have a fucking quarterback. They're probably going to run the ball. Florida State wins 25-19, I think. 44, I'm under 55. That was an easy one. Notre Dame blows out Stanford as I thought because Stanford's got the 36 defense. Now you understand. Notre Dame had no problem. Georgia Tech, I have over 53.5. It goes 54. Georgia had scored, and they called 2 penalties on him. Then the guy throws an interception with like 7 minutes left in the game. I'm like, oh, fuck. All I needed was to get the 54, and then Georgia Tech drives down and scores late for me. But it was the only way to play it. I didn't like Georgia Tech's explosive, and I thought they'd score. And normally I would have went under with 60 with Georgia, but this worked out well. So I just get in at 54 over in the Georgia game. Clemson -1. Clemson wins. South Florida beats Charlotte. It was just unbelievable. Wyoming kills Nevada, the Z team. And then I lose with Cal UCLA over 45. And the score is 33-7. California. I thought UCLA would beat them 33-7. I was worried. I said, if I can get 10 points from Cal lighting it up, I should be okay. But I didn't think UCLA would only score 7 on a 35 defense. Unbelievable. So I do lose that one. And that was it. So I hit 3 locks: Oklahoma, Ohio State, and the Vegas over, which made me happy. I have them all in 2 teasers. We got 1 lock today. We got the free pick, Kansas City under. Next week, we have the conference championships that they kind of mean something. Georgia against Alabama. What are you going to do if Georgia loses? They're still in the playoffs. Alabama must win. This is what happened a few years ago. Georgia laid down on purpose so Alabama could get in. I don't see that happening now, and I don't know that Alabama gets in anyway, because Texas beat Alabama. So if they're both 1 loss, Texas is going to go in ahead of Alabama. The Oregon-Washington winner's in, Alabama's in, and Michigan will kill Iowa. So it should be Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and then what do you do with Texas or Florida State? Alabama's not going to jump Florida State, even with Travis out. And if they do, they're not jumping Texas. Texas, they get Oak State. Good luck with them. My man, Ollie Davis, I think's his name. 5 touchdowns yesterday, another 200-yard game. The best running back. He's Jim Brown. This guy's Jim Brown, basically. He's a powerful back with speed. So imagine O.J. Simpson with Emmitt Smith together. Emmett's power and O.J.'s speed, and that's what you got with this guy. He's unbelievable. The quarterback sucks, unfortunately, but can Oak State beat Texas? With this guy, it's going to be hard because Texas has a good run defense. But, yeah, I think if he gets going, but not with they got to keep the quarterback. Like, yeah, he does suck. Whoever tried to correct me and say he's good, he ain't good. He killed us against UCF. They were losing yesterday, and then he finally came on. Who were they playing? They were playing BYU, and it was a close game for a while. And then they gave the ball to Ollie, and he got 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, and they ended up winning by 10 points, I think. They were laying 16. I don't know if they covered or not. So that's your football for today. So if we look at who needs what, must win Pittsburgh. I don't know what to tell you with Cincinnati. Without Burrow, they don't have a chance. Not with Browning. Pitt has to win. New Orleans, Atlanta, they both have to win. It's such a bad division. Carolina, Tennessee. Carolina got their win over Houston, which is why I can't say Stroud's a good quarterback. Tennessee must win to have any hope. Tampa Bay, Indy. Tampa needs the game. Well, I think they both need the game. Tampa with Atlanta, New Orleans, and Indy fighting with Jacksonville and Tennessee. New England and the Giants, just pathetic. It's not even professional football. Jacksonville, Houston, both teams need the game. It's a division game. I don't know. You're making Jacksonville a road favorite. Good luck with that. Cleveland, Denver, both teams need the game. Cleveland must win, chasing Baltimore, but they could get a break because Baltimore has to play at San Diego. And Denver must keep winning, and they are playing very well, beating Kansas City, beating, Philadelphia, I think, or Buffalo. and winning last week. Minnesota's playing; they're very hot. So they are. Sean Payton's got them playing. I call these things a little early, but I do call them. The Rams in Arizona. Rams must win. They're kind of way out of it. KC, Oakland. Oakland needs it, but with O'Connell, KC is after their loss to Philly. Look for them to play strong. Buffalo, Philly. Buffalo must win. Philly's in the driver's seat, basically. But that's why I like the game. Very high scoring. Baltimore, San Diego. San Diego is so out of it. Baltimore, they don't really need it. They got the lead over Pitt and that. So, yeah. Again, this should be a high scoring game. San Diego, Bosa's out, but we know they're going to score a lot. That's all we care about. And Chicago, Mini needs to win. Chicago is out of it, but playing for pride. Yeah, Bobby Jones. Neither quarterback? Do you believe neither quarterback could possibly start in any Pac-10 game? Right, Arizona State. They would rather have who? Danny DeVito played for I think Illinois. I think he was at Syracuse, went to Illinois, and he wasn't really good. And Mac Jones at Alabama, that's just the system. And this is what proves it, right? All the receivers are fast. They run down the field, and it's not quarterbacking. So now you're seeing Melrose, and he don't look too good. And let's see him against Georgia. Yeah. They're going to kill him. And we're going to love every minute of it. So you got a lot of terrible quarterbacks. And all I can say is in a lot of these games, like Pickett against Browning, it's just bet it under. There's no good quarterback. Carr and Riddler, bet it under. Mayfield and Minshew, maybe you get points. Jones, DeVito, where are you gonna get points? You don't have a quarterback. Then you start getting Stafford and Murray, DTR and Russell Wilson, Mahomes, but O'Connell, he sucked at Purdue. I don't understand it. If he sucks in college, so let's take it to Bobby. So you're in the minor leagues, you're hitting 120. Let's promote him to the major leagues. He's going to hit better in the major leagues than he is in the minor leagues. What the fuck is that all about? So I don't know where they think O'Connell's any good. He sucks. Allen against Hurts. Again, I'm curious. Hurts just wants to run. The new coordinator, Philly, they got lucky to beat KC because they ran the Madoff play, basically. They have to cheat. Lamar against Herbert, and then Fields and Dobbs. I can't believe Fields and Dobbs are in the NFL and they're starting. And what I don't believe is Minnesota. They got their better quarterbacks. Mullen and Hall are both probable. So why are you still with Dobbs? But they've been hot. I like the Bears in this game, 9.5. So anyway, we got one lock going. If this was Sunday, I probably would have locked the Niners with Dallas. But I hate to lock on Thursday, and then you lose, you're in a big hole. So I wanted to play it safe. I had Frisco with the Miami under, so that's one. And then we lost Detroit, and we won Dallas. I think I have them with a game today. And then I have a couple open from yesterday with Kansas City under, and I think the Philly Buffalo over. I've already won the first half of it. So great day in college. Again, the expected outcomes came in just the whole fucking week. Texas, Oklahoma over the Oregon game. The only one that really was surprising was Washington. They had to win the game, and they didn't show up. They choked. I don't know. Penix is choking a little bit. I mean, you watch Oregon, you watch Washington, and you're like, how the fuck did Washington beat them? And it's because the coach didn't go for field goals. let's see if he learned his lesson. But that Oregon defense is so good. He's starting to play the Georgia defense. This is the Georgia defensive coordinator, is the head coach of Oregon. And it looks like they're playing the Georgia defense with the Oregon offense. I like the Georgia offense. It's just so good. I mean, they power run you when they want the game over, they power run you, you're fucked. You can't stop it. You know it's coming. But he's good enough to get the touchdowns. Back's good, although he threw a bad interception yesterday. He tried forcing it. He waited, and then he tried forcing it into four guys, and the guy deflected it, and it was an interception in the end zone, which pissed me off. But that's the only thing. I don't know why he threw that, and I don't know why they didn't power run it. I mean, when you got that power running game, just fucking give him the ball or hit Brock Bowers with it. That's what they should have done. So it's good to see Brock Bowers back, and that's that. So football questions, anybody, let me know. Yeah, Jones and Danny DeVito, definitely a shake my head, Bobby. I don't get it. So how did I do before? So I had Detroit 27-20. They lost 29-22. I had Dallas 34-3, 145-10. Pretty good. I had San Francisco 27-17, win 31-13. I got Miami 13-6. They win 34-13 with all these strange touchdowns at the end. Otherwise, it should have been 20-7 or something. And we'll see today. So most of my actions late. The Rams, the KC under, Buffalo, Philly, Baltimore, San Diego, and then the Bears on Monday. Nothing big, though. I'm way up, so I'm not going to risk too much today. Played a few doubles, but we'll see. I'm staying away from like Carolina, Tennessee, Tampa, Indy, New England, the Giants. What do you do with it? Maybe you go under. So that's what I do again. So we'll look at the college. Well, let's take a look at it if it's out there. Probably is. What is it, week 14? All right, we got Liberty 10.5, 52.5 to my New Mexico State team, which upset somebody yesterday. I'm telling you, okay, New Mexico State beat fucking Auburn 31-10, and Alabama almost loses to them. What the hell is that? See, but that's the difference between a good quarterback, Pavia, New Mexico State, and a shit quarterback in Milrose. That's the difference. So Liberty 10.5. Liberty's an explosive team, but our New Mexico State team, they're a very live dog here. Oregon, Washington. I believe the game's in Washington. Oregon is 8.5, 68.5. I bet this game under. There's no way they're getting 68.5 here. Oregon's going to just shut them down defensively. Washington couldn't score on either Oregon State or Washington State. This game's 68.5 is ridiculous. Way too high. It's a playoff game. They're not going to get explosive. Oak State, Texas. Texas 11.5, 53.5. I don't know. You got Jim Brown in the backfield there. We will see. These are all 12 o'clock? Oh, no. Okay. Oregon, Washington's at 8 o'clock. Oh, it's 8 o'clock Friday. Okay. So Friday, New Mexico State, Liberty, and Oregon, Washington. Saturday, Oak State, Texas is the noon game. Miami against Toledo. Oh, they already played Toledo. Miami's quarterback's out, so we like Toledo there. 4 o'clock, SMU, Tulane. Ooh, Tulane's a 3-point, 52.5. Got to go. SMU is a very live dog there. Let's see. Georgia, Alabama. Georgia, 5.5, 56.5. Very obvious. Just take Georgia. You got Georgia even. Yeah, what else could you ask for? Georgia even against Alabama. Now, knowing will Georgia lay down like they did a couple of years ago to get Alabama in the playoffs, but I'm not even sure it would work. If Texas wins, there's no way Alabama can jump Texas because, well, I don't know. If Alabama wins, they beat Georgia, but Texas beat them. I just don't see them getting in. But we will see. But Georgia's not laying down, and Alabama had trouble with Auburn. I mean, come on. So, like, you got to go Georgia. Even if you lose, you lose. But Merry Christmas. 4 o'clock. Troy App State. Troy App State. Ooh, I like Troy. Troy 751.5. 8 p.m. Louisville, Florida State. Florida State 4.5, 50.5. You got to go under here. Where's Florida State getting points from? You know, he's gone. Travis is never playing again with his foot going left and his leg going right. Okay, he's Mackenzie Milton, my UCF guy. 50.5. Seriously, with these defenses, wow, go under. 4.5. I don't know why Florida State's favored, but good luck. And to end it, the Big Ten joke, Michigan 22.5, 35.5 to Iowa. Oh my God, are you kidding me? 35.5. I think this game goes over here. There's no way Iowa's going to stop Michigan. This is not playing Nebraska or Wisconsin with this 35.5 crap. Michigan, so you got to go over 29. You got Michigan. Michigan's going to score more than 29. They'll score 40 in the game. Here's the money line for you, Bobby. Michigan is 3,000 to win 100. And if you want Iowa, you only get 1,200. Seems like a fair money line. Yeah, I can see why people bet money lines. 22.5, 35.5. I think either way you win. Michigan down to 16. Iowa can't score. And Michigan just put 30 up on Ohio State, who's got a better defense than Iowa. So I don't get this 35.5. I thought it'd be 46, 47. This is a joke. Go over, go Michigan. So that's your 8 o'clock game. So that's what we got next week. And then the week after, we got Army, Navy. Go Army, beat Navy. And that's next week's action. Georgia even. So I might have to lock Georgia even with Michigan over or 16, late 16. Okay, let's review today. Let's refresh. It's 12:30. We got a half hour till kickoff. Jacksonville 1.5, 47.5. Indy 2.5, 44.5. New England 4.5, 35.5. I don't know why the total is so high. Tennessee 3.5, 36.5. Pitt 2.5, 36.5. New Orleans 1.5, 41.5. Ooh, that's down from 2.5. The Sharps are betting on Atlanta. The Rams 2.5, 45.5. Denver 1.5, 37.5. Philly 2.5, 48.5. That's down from 3. I don't know that I'd be jumping on Buffalo at Philly, but definitely high scoring. Kansas City 9.5 down to 42.5. People are listening. The Sharps are listening to us, and they're jumping on Kansas City under, making it go down to 42.5. Baltimore 3 and 48.5. That hasn't moved. And the Vikes 3, 43.5 hasn't moved. Those are your latest lines. Bobby, I got some Egon for you.
Inflation, artificial.
All right, time for Egon.
35,000. What was the reason? CPI numbers. Let me quote here. The consumer price index was flat in October.
Yeah, I'll show you that in a minute.
But increased 3.2% from a year ago. Both were below Wall Street estimates, sparking a major rally on Wall Street. Seems the investors are back to normal, Egon, and they celebrate and they buy like crazy. Back to normal, really?
Well, we have this perma bull attitude now among investors that both good news and bad news make the market go up. And here we have inflation artificially coming down. I don't believe in any of that. I think it's temporary. And if you read and study actually how they can define inflation and what subjective tools they have to adjust it, basically just because they think it's too high, they can adjust it lower. So any person who lives in a normal economy is not looking at 3% inflation today. So that's not real, and I think this is a correction to an uptrend in inflation and trend in interest rates, and therefore we should not pay too much attention to this temporary euphoria. I don't think stock markets are going to go up further. They might come up a little bit from here, but the trend is down, and at some point it's down in a major way, whether that's happening this year or at the beginning of next year. But stock market investors are always buying the dips and always happy that the market goes up and finds always a reason to buy the market.
I also would not bet on.
All right, so I'm going to explain. The Ponzi scheme, as I've laid out for you, is the government's printing money and fucking everybody over, because as they print the money loses the value, right? So I don't know. I haven't seen Alligator in a while, but I caught Egon yesterday, so I watched him while I was working out. It's a short one, but we'll go. There's two major points I want to share with you. So they're still kind of missing the point of inflation, thinking it's prices. It's not prices. This is why I talk for hours and hours and every time about this is being printed to death. It's printed to zero. This is the inflation, is the money being printed to zero. That's it. The prices are an effect of it, but are not inflation. The prices are the market. So because the dollar's worth less, their costs go up, so they need to charge you more. So if it costs me $2 to make this mug and I sell it for $5, and now my costs go up because the dollar's lost the value, and now my mug costs me $4, I got to raise my price to $7. The inflation is not me going from 4 to 7. It's not my cost going from 2 to 4. Inflation is still, you printed the money. This is the inflation. You printed the money, but the costs are us. We're the market. Can you sell this for $7? No, I'm only going to give you $5. Can you sell the ribs for $45? Your costs went up. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to pay you $45 for your ribs. I'm not going to pay $22 for General Chow. It's 15 something right now, Bobby. So just because your costs go up, do not mean I allow the price to go up as long as I have competition. Therefore, that's not what's really going. So that's why the price doesn't matter, because we control the price. So we don't have to buy the goods. They have to sell the goods. So they lower the price to make the sales. Doesn't mean inflation goes down. And there's no such thing as deflation, as I keep getting more and more beating my head into the wall when they come up, and the next segment he's going to talk about deflation. The deflation is just prices going down. So if this Mahomes card, which is numbered 50, because if it's limited, it's worth more. Let's say it's $5,000 for this card, and it goes down to 4,500. Is that deflation? No, people can't afford to buy it, so they're not. So the price drops because the guy wants to get the card. The guy wants to sell the card, so he sells it for what the market will bear. And as the market has less money, So because the dollar's worth less, things cost more. Certain things, electricity and heat and rent, you can't substitute. Well, you can substitute rent if, like me, I'm in an apartment. I can move to another place that's cheaper. But if Bobby's in a $500,000 house, he can't just sell the house and move to another house. It's like when you're married, you can't just dump the girl for another girl. But if you're dating, you can. And that's another story. That's another class. But that's the thing. So he can substitute certain things, but not everything. You can substitute ribs for steak. You can substitute one steak, a New York strip for a Delmonico. You can substitute for hamburger. You can substitute for chicken. So as long as you can move your money around, you're okay. And that's what you should be doing, is substituting things. But then, like I said, heat and electricity, you can't substitute. So again, I'm a little worried when Egon doesn't understand inflation is printing the money. They'll say purchasing power, but it's a word they've heard, but they never explain it as the money being printed to zero. This bothers me because they're saying purchasing power, but they don't know what they're talking about. I can read between the lines. So we have that, but they don't get it. But yeah, what they're saying is it's a Ponzi scheme, right? The government says, oh, inflation's 2%, and everybody believes it because nobody knows what it is in the first place because it's never explained or taught properly. Only in Austrian economics is it taught that it's the printing of the money. The Keynesians would say prices going up. And so that's why they think they can just keep printing money and printing money and printing money, and it won't have any effect on the market. And this is what the Keynesians believe. This is why the money is worthless, because they keep printing. They don't understand. That's why they don't want to be on the gold. If they're on the gold standard, they can't print. They can't steal from us. They can't Ponzi scheme us. They can only do that on dollars. When they can print as much as they want and nobody has a price on dollars. So if there's no price on dollars, they can print what they want, and they're printing the statistics, and they're going to say, oh, everything's great. The economy's fine. Inflation's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, I'm a fucking moron. I'm not going to believe that shit. I know what's real. You're printing the money. You can't print $10 trillion and not have an effect on the inflation. So I know that's wrong. Yeah, Bobby, I'll show you Mark McGuire in a minute. So let's get back to the next question.
Increasing market, Egon, nevertheless, insanity can last longer than we think. What did Zero Hedge write? The higher for longer soft landing economy may be transitioning back to a Goldilocks economy of not to have hot, not to have cold activity and inflation that this week at least created a particularly attractive backdrop for stocks, but realistically, everything just traded together like the QE trade. Stocks up, bonds prices up, gold up, dollar down. I think for a while, we really could expect the interest rates to be flat and coming down, but probably a temporary development, as you said. And this is also supported by some deflationary pressure. Is the luxury goods bubble bursting? We read here an article that Burberry sales are falling and even the prices for luxury watches are declining. And from the US, we have a similar development. People run out of money, or at least run out of money to buy useless goods or not necessary goods, and the retail sales are declining. Retail sales in the US decreased by 0.1% month over month in October 23, putting an end to a 6-month streak of increases and compared with a market consensus of a 0.3% decline. Sales at miscellaneous store retailers recorded the largest decrease, followed by furniture stores. There is definitely downward pressure, deflationary pressure, which would support the Fed to stop increasing rates. But nevertheless, there are other forces that paint a picture of increasing rates again. And sooner or later, not just because of the pressure to the economy, the mounting debt, the refinancing, we discussed everything. There will be a QE necessary. So I think this is only a phase of deflationary pressure that opportunistic people can use, but I would not bet on this to persist for much longer. What do you think, Egon?
Well, Jan, if we start with the luxury goods side that you mentioned, that has been one of the biggest bubbles in the world, in my view. No, just take that the one of the richest person in the world is Arnault, which is the principal owner of the biggest luxury goods group in the world, LVMH. Louis Vuitton, Chandon, etc. What has happened is that, as we know, that the rich has been getting much richer because of these bubble markets, property, stocks, bonds, even, and private equity, etc. And the wealthy don't know what to do with their money, so that they spend it on things that they don't need. So that's why you find €1,000 or €100,000 handbags, for example, and people have to wait a year to actually order one, even so that because they make them scarce, these products. That bubble will of course burst when asset markets burst, which is something that we'll probably see during 2024 and coming years. And then again, the fact that retail spending is down. I mean, that's obvious. People don't have any money. Retail spending will continue down. But in my view, we will still have inflation. So you will have low spending and high inflation. We've seen it before. I've seen it in the 70s. And we're going to see it again. Remember, the 70s, I expect.
See, that comment bothers me. Inflation is printing the money. And you've still printed $10 trillion. It didn't go away. What do you mean inflation will come back? It hasn't gone anywhere. The fact that the government says it's 3% or 4% is irrelevant. It's not. There's no money. Nobody has. So on one hand, he says nobody has money in the retail goods and the luxury goods because you need money for food and rent. You're not going to spend money on a Rolex, let's say. So this concerns me with Egon, that he misses that basic concept of inflation. Is you've printed the money, it's printed. It doesn't go away. Inflation doesn't end. The only way you end it is with gold, because the dollar is worthless. So how is all of a sudden the dollar not? Egon doesn't understand that most basic concept of inflation is printing the money to zero. How could it go away? You printed $10 trillion, killed the value of the dollar. It didn't go away. It's still worthless. He doesn't quite catch the concept. The prices go up, so the money is worth less, so they can't buy as much because it's rent or mortgage and food, which has gone up. So I have $100 and well, let's say I have $1,000 for the month, and I'm going to pay rent and my house, my heat and utilities. That leaves me $800 in whatever world we're dealing with. That leaves me $800 to spend with. But now food was $100 is now $300. Oh, that only leaves me $500. I can't go buy certain goods because I don't have enough money. I got to pay my utilities and my rent and buy gas. And if I notice, gas was way down this week. It's like $3 here for some reason. And so I only have, with food going up, I don't have that much money left because I only got so much coming in, and I've got my expenses going up. So I only have this much left for goods that I want, not need. I need food, I need rent, I need heat, the electricity, gas for the car. But I don't, so I don't really need a Rolex or whatever. You do need gold. That is a need, not a want. And you got to understand that's a need and a want. So he's really missing that point, which really confuses me because I don't get why he doesn't get that. So again, they think that inflation is prices. and the prices are down. Of course, the prices are down because the demand's down because you have less money. You're not going to take the price increase. If Coca-Cola is now $3, it was $2.99 a bottle. It's now $2.79. Does that mean inflation went down because Coke is now $2.79, not $2.99? No, it's because they can't sell it because we're not going to pay $2.99 for a fucking 2-liter that we're paying 99 cents for a year ago. So no, we're not going to buy it. So sales are down. The whole goal of Coke is to sell their product. So they're trying to sell it at a price over the market. So they got to reload their price. And I know at my grocery store, buy one, get one free, which then makes it $1.30 item, which is okay. Yes, if I'm going to buy two liters of Coke. I'm probably going to die between the sugar or the aspartame if I'm buying regular diet, but that's the other part of it. Be careful with that. So that's really what is going on. You don't have all this extra money to spend. Anything you have in your savings, you should have moved into gold and silver, and that's where you get into my world where I don't want to sell it at these low prices. I know the price is going to be way higher. So I'm sitting there going, I'm waiting on it until the price rises. So I have to have a buffer of cash to spend until the gold goes through the roof. So I got to buy gold is a need, not a want. Gold is freedom. It gets you off the books. You don't pay taxes on it, and nobody knows you have it. You got your money in the bank. You're at Chase. Everybody knows you have it. They sent out a statement to the IRS. Howard made $1,000 in interest. Howard has $50,000 in the bank. Everybody knows it. You get it into gold, nobody knows anything. They don't know what I have. They can't. No interest income. When the price goes to the moon, nobody really knows. I sell it. Maybe they 1099 me, maybe they don't. We don't know how that's going to work. But if we go to Switzerland or somewhere, we'll go sell it like that. So again, there is no such thing as deflation. They're kind of creating words to sound important. It's part of the Ponzi scheme. So your house loses value. Yeah, because the money's worth less. So the 500,000 is only worth 400, but they had to raise the interest rate. So you're fucked selling it and you're fucked buying a new one. But it's really not it's just the dollar losing value because they're inflating it. Welcome to the Ponzi scheme. So all your assets lose value until they go to zero because the dollar goes to zero until it's priced in gold. And now your house is priced 2 ounces of gold, which is worth a fortune. So you're a rich person selling your house for 2 ounces of gold. Well, right now you go, well, it's only worth 4,000 right now because it's price fixed. And that's the other problem I have with these guys. They keep referring to the paper price, and they well, it's 2,000. Maybe it'll get to 3,000. That's what I bitched at with Mark McGuire. Oh, maybe it'll go to 3,000. And it's like, but 2,000 isn't the real price. And then they keep saying, well, it's not gold going up, it's paper going down. Well, the paper's gone down 99%. Gold hasn't gone up. What the fuck are you talking about? So you can't look at the paper price and think that's the reality. It's not. It's the paper price. So, hello, that's where they're wrong. All right.
It's the whole of the 70s when the interest rates were going up continuously and the economy was extremely weak and the gold price went up dramatically together
paper
with
gold price.
Rates. Remember that interest rates and gold can go up together and do very often. So that's
because of inflation.
Not an opposite relationship with them at all.
And not just the retail customer is under pressure, also the companies, they have to refinance loans, and now, obviously, at much higher rates. Unfortunately, behind the paywall, but still I could read something. Some of the largest US companies face billions of dollars in additional interest costs and hits to their profit if they refinance their 2024 maturities at current rates, with a third of them lacking the cash to repay debt. Non-financial companies in the S&P 500 have a combined 107.7 billion in debt coming due next year with an average interest rate of 2.8% according to Calcbench analysis seen by First Bloomberg News. Refinancing at 5.44%, the rate of the one-year Treasury bill in early November, would add another 3.09 billion in collective interest expense. This speaks for this deflationary pressure that we will have for a while, but on the other hand, it will increase the losses of the companies, the refinancings, and they will call louder and louder to the Fed to start QE again, right? And then the bottle is opened and the printing presses will run, and then we see what we expect.
Yes, I mean, these.
Okay, first of all, there's no such thing as inflation. He keeps bringing it up. He doesn't know what it is. He knows its price is going down. That's the market does that. That's because of the inflation. The dollar doesn't buy what it used to, so therefore you can't afford as much. Do you really want to be in the stock market if all these companies, you got to realize the company doesn't have $1 billion in their account. They get loans from the bank and have what do they call it? Lines of credit. So the line of credit went from 1% to 6%. This is why I told my last boss, it doesn't matter. You'll be out of business in 6 months because his costs are going to go up, which they have. You can't sell your shit because nobody wants, I don't know what crap they were selling. So what you have is all these companies are going to go out because they can't afford it and they can't pass their price on. See, so Coca-Cola is trying to sell their Coke at $2.99. They can't. So you want to be in the stock market and you think what, the Apple phones are just going to keep going or people are going to subscribe to Apple? You don't have any money. You're not subscribing to Apple. I don't know if you're subscribing to Netflix. You're getting out of cable. You're saving your money. You got to eat and pay your utilities and your rent. That's the most important thing. So if you're not smart enough to be in gold and silver, your money's going to go to zero. So now what are you going to do? And that's the problem. So you're in the stock market instead of gold. You know more than we do. Okay, good. And when everybody has to as he just said, next year, so 2024, everybody goes from 2% to 5%, another $1 trillion of cost. What do you think? Ford, GM, you think they're going to be profitable? They're not profitable now trying to sell electric cars. Who's buying electric cars and cars, regular cars, with these high rates, right? Toyota, the guy's saying, oh, they're $1,000 a month for the Camry that I paid $400 a month for. Who's buying them? Who has all this extra money? Now, what's happening, if we go to the other thing, as the Ponzi schemes have been happening and they print the money and they give it to their buddies, they have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. So they're putting it into the stock market and they're buying all these luxury goods. That's who's buying them, is the people in the Ponzi scheme, not me and you. We don't have this extra money. And if we do, we're buying gold and silver with it. So that's the Ponzi scheme, right? They print the money, they give it to their friends. There's no Madoff giving it to the little people who invested. So there's nobody underneath investing. It's JP Morgan and all the central banks throughout the world printing money, printing. Oh, nothing can happen to the value of the dollar. This is why the whole thing's collapsed. It's all worthless. My euro, my dollar, whatever you want, right? You think this has a value. This doesn't have a value. This is worth the same as the dollar. They're worthless, right? There's no value in them, but you don't know it. So again, so you're on the Titanic and the water's coming in, but you don't know it. So you're on the third deck and you hit the iceberg and you think, the engines have stopped. We'll be okay. It's the Titanic. It's not sinkable. Like the Roman Empire can't go under and the U.S. Empire can't go under. Why would the dollar ever go to zero? That can't happen. And you're on the Titanic and it's filling with water. And that is the point we're at. The dollar is worthless and it's staying worthless. All right.
Higher interest rates, people haven't really reacted to them yet, but that's will start in earnest during next year, as you say. There is refinancing taking place on first of all on mortgage loans around the world. People have had maybe a couple 2-year fixed loans or 3-year fixed loans, and a lot of that is maturing next year. And of course, especially in Europe here, people have gone from 1% interest rates to now 3, 4, 5% interest rates on their mortgages. People are not going to cope with that. There'll be massive defaults on that side. And the same goes for commercial property. Again, they have the dual problem of not just higher rates, but also lower vacancy rates because people are not working in offices anymore. A lot of people are working from home, if they work from home, because most of the time when you try to find people these days, you can't even get hold of them. Then you have also companies, as you say, have to refinance debt. And then let's not forget the government. The US government has, I think it's about 8 trillion out of their 33 trillion maturing next year. And that's at low rates again. That's at 2% or so, and now they're looking at maybe 5% refinancing, and that's just going to make the interest costs of US going up into the sky, and they can't afford that either. Well, they can, of course, because they just print more money, but that will again create the inflationary cycle that we know is going to come back because of the massive money printing in all of these areas that you just outlined, because government is going to have to print to help the banks, to refinance the banks, and as well as to help them. And the governments don't have any money except for fiat money. And, just imagine what this printing and these deficits, what effect that will have on the economy and on inflation and of course on the gold price, because it's the currencies that suffer. So the currencies will go down and gold will reflect that, of course. So we will see gold going up considerably in the coming year. But what people shouldn't worry about
and silver
is currencies going down or gold going up. What they should worry about that holding your money in the banks now. These banks that are going to, the crisis we saw in the spring, that's going to continue and accelerate and get a lot worse. I could easily see government saying that half of the deposits in the bank, for example, goes into forced saving into treasury bonds for fixed or frozen for 5 years or even 10 years. That could easily come, especially in the US. So therefore, if I were a US citizen, I wouldn't keep my money in the bank.
Exactly.
And as we know, Jan, gold is a much better alternative, better protection, better wealth preservation, and it's if you hold it outside the banking system, it's out of reach of the government also.
The banking system, Egon, that was a good keyword, and I completely agree. If you have money in the USA, be careful, rather put it into gold. I only want to read one headline from Zero Hedge. Big banks see 63 billion deposit outflows last week. Loan volumes continue to contract. So the banking crisis, as we also discussed in the past, is not over. Who knows how long this phase of deflationary pressure will last, but to print money has been always the easy and convenient way. I think, Egon, when the inflation starts again, it will be very rapid. Why? Because we still have the effects from Corona. A lot of supply, factories, etc., supply chains were destroyed. We have sanctions.
All right, so this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Again, he's looking at prices. He's saying, oh, it's supply chain, so there's less, so therefore the price goes up. That's not inflation. That's supply chain. It's totally different. The only inflation is printing the money. Again, this guy's clueless that they're going to, have problems with, he's still on COVID. He's still on supply chain. That's got nothing to do with inflation. It might cause prices to go up because supply's down. That's just economics. That's got nothing to do with inflation. Inflation is only printing the money to zero. And it has not stopped, as these guys keep thinking that inflation stopped. Inflation hasn't stopped. It's still there. It can't stop. You printed the money. The paper has gone from, the value's gone from here to here. How is that stopped? The dollar's worth 1%. How is that stopped? It hasn't stopped. It still costs more for everything because the dollar isn't worth much. So it takes more dollars to buy Coca-Cola and Hershey's chocolate. That's the inflation. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. But if you're going to measure it in prices, you can't. And that's the problem. Look at the interest rates. Look at the $1,000 to buy a Camry. I don't know what it costs for a house now, but that's really what you look at is the interest rates. But the inflation's huge. They keep gold and silver price down to make it look like there's no inflation, or to keep you in the Ponzi scheme, which is to keep you in money and get you out of gold and silver. That's the Ponzi scheme that they're throwing at you. And don't be a Madoff and sit there and going, oh, yeah, I'll keep my money in the dollar and I'll keep it in the bank. And as he said, they're going to take it from you and force you into bonds. Well, what goes to the bonds? We owe $35 trillion in debt now. Am I going to pay your bonds back? No. And the $35 trillion, you must realize is that the $35 trillion, you must realize, is to other countries. It's to Germany and Britain and France and Switzerland and China. It's not just to themselves. They're buying. So the way it works is they print bonds and they sell the bonds to these other countries because they need dollars because of the Ponzi scheme of everybody needing to exchange Swiss francs for euros. You need it to buy dollars to buy the euro with it. It's so fucked up. I don't know how any of these countries just go along with this crap. So in other words, if I wanted to do something, I got to switch my money to this to then take the money and buy the other currency. Are you fucking? Why don't I just buy the other currency? Although when I go to Europe, I just exchange my dollar for euro. I don't have to do anything. All right.
Actually, madness that increase the prices everywhere, or that have driven the prices up already.
No, that's inflation.
Go bankrupt, so the supply will also shrink.
No.
And then less supply, prices will increase also for that reason. What do you think?
That's not inflation.
Yes, absolutely. As I wrote in my last article, the cycle of evil. We have these cycles of on the one hand, of the geopolitical risks of two major wars, and we shouldn't believe that any of them will go away. They will last for a long time, and of course and it's both wars are involving the U.S. on one side, backing one country, whether it's Ukraine or whether it's Israel, and on the other side you have Russia, of course, in Ukraine, and then you have in Israel. You're not talking about just Palestine. You have the whole Arab world. So you're talking about a couple of billion people if you take the whole Arab world. So and that is a conflict that will not stop, and it could get a lot worse. So we have those risks which we have to watch out for, and then we have, as you have outlined here now, we have talked about all of the financial risks. So the absolutely reason for wealth preservation is greater than ever because of the risks. You don't buy gold because you want it to go up.
Sure we do.
It's better that it doesn't go up, because if it goes up, it reflects massive problems in the world. You buy it because it's the best insurance you can have, as long as you have it.
And the prices go up because of the risk.
And really, that's what people should think about now. Don't wait for these risks to materialize in a lot more serious events. We could see wars. We could see.
So what's he saying, Barry? Your head in the sand? They're here. These risks are here. They're alive. Yeah, we got to worry about them. And yes, we do want gold to go. We're not necessarily want it to go up per se. We want the price fixing from COMEX to go away. We just want the $2,000 gold to go to its real price of $20,000. And again, it's in dollars, and again, it's going to zero. And again, gold will go to the moon because gold will have a value because it's the only real money and real asset there is when the dollar goes away. That's what we want from gold. We don't want the price to go to 20,000 because of trouble. We just want to get rid of COMEX, and the suppression of gold and silver is a fucking joke. That's what we want, is the free market real price of gold and silver. That's what we're asking for. Give me my $20,000 gold already. Quit fucking around with me at 2,000. And yes, I do want it to go to 20. It's already there. They're all inflating. It's all a Ponzi scheme. And this is the thing that I'm noticing that Egon and Mark McGuire don't get. It's a Ponzi scheme that we're in, and you're trying to fight it. Mark McGuire's thing was about some guy saying, "Oh yeah, they're price fixing gold." Yeah, but the problem is it's a Ponzi scheme. So you can say they're price fixing it. Oh, send them to jail. Oh. But who are you talking to? You're talking to the Ponzi schemers. So it's not like you're going to do anything. Okay.
Banking system collapse, etc., and government defaults. That's going to happen in the next few years. And prepare for it now. Don't wait. That's what we have to tell our listeners and viewers, Jan.
And it seems that even central banks are looking at massive problems. I found a very interesting article on zero hedge again, Egon, and I nowhere in the mainstream press read anything about that. It seems that the Netherlands are preparing.
All right, now watch this closely.
Maybe initiate a new gold currency. I quote, in a recent interview, the Dutch central bank shares it has equalized its gold reserves relative to GDP to other countries in the Eurozone and outside of Europe. This has been a political decision. If there is a financial crisis, the gold price will skyrocket, and official gold reserves can be used to underpin a new gold standard according to DNB, that is the Dutch central bank. These statements confirm what I have been writing for the past years about central banks having prepared for a new international gold standard. And now, what we know already, Egon, the beauty of gold is that it's stable in value, it retains its value. That's one of the reasons why central banks hold gold. Gold has intrinsic value unlike a dollar or any other currency.
Because you can't print it.
Alone Bitcoin. Gold has value on its own. It's a fungible product. It's a liquid product. You can buy and sell it almost anywhere in the world. So it's really an outstanding commodity to base an exchange rate system, in brackets, gold standard on. Isn't that a confirmation what we, of course, know already? But now to hear this from the Netherlands is quite remarkable.
It is, because the governments know that they don't really want to reveal how they are mismanaging the economy by constantly debasing the currencies.
And printing
that's
it.
What gold reflects. Gold doesn't go up. Gold just holds a stable value, but all the currencies are going down rapidly. But now they're confirming that gold it protects against that. But they of course should also say don't hold the money that we issue, because it's going to be becoming worthless by the day. But I mean, this what you read about the Dutch central bank, etc., and a gold standard. I'm not a believer in a gold standard. I don't think it'll be a good thing, because that will be subject to manipulation also. I believe much more in free gold. And of course, the whole world is not going to agree on a gold standard, because the BRICS countries and the East, they will do what they want. China and Russia, etc., the big holders of gold, are not going to agree with the West, what they do. And they're the ones increasing the gold reserves, not the West. The West are not buying gold. It's the East that's buying the gold, and the South. So I think it's more likely, as we have discussed before, that the gold price will go up because central banks can no longer, or will no longer, hold dollars as their reserves. They've done that, and in various central banks, they've held U.S. Treasury bonds as the currency reserve. But now, with the U.S. confiscating Russia's funds, for example, no government will want to hold an instrument that can be confiscating. So I think the whole system will go over from dollar-based to gold-based reserves. And in my view, that is what's going to make a major change to the gold price. And I don't think it's going to happen overnight. It'll just be a gradual shift and making constant demand for more gold by these various governments. And as we know, there isn't more gold in the world. You can't make more gold. So the only way for them to have more gold is by the price going up. And that's what we're going to see. And that's not going to be by small percentages. That will be by big percentages, but it's not going to be something, as I said, happening overnight. It's going to be over a certain period of time. That, to me, is the best way for gold to have a continued uptrend, for the simple reason that governments around the world and people will realize that that's the only asset to hold to protect against the various risks that we discuss, you and I, Jan.
Let's conclude, Egon.
And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. So does that answer your silver question, Bobby? Because as gold goes, silver goes. And that's basically, he couldn't have, he says it just the way I do. The central banks don't want to hold dollars. And the other point he's missing is that the value of the dollar, nobody wants to hold dollars because it doesn't have a value. It's zero. This is the only thing that Egon doesn't really understand. This won't have a value. So I don't want to hold dollars. Yeah, I'm worried about the sanctions, but I'm worried about this having a value. As people realize that it's worthless, why do I want a central bank full of dollars? This part eludes Egon, which is kind of troublesome. I know too much. That's my problem. So it's not even that. You want gold to protect, but why do I want to hold this? I don't want to hold this here in America because I know it's worthless. This is worth zero. And as he said, the central banks they don't want to hold dollars, they're holding gold. Well, because you can't print gold, gold will go up to the moon. Without COMEX or with COMEX, they won't be able to contain it. And it's just too much demand. And what he's kind of saying is what I say with the Titanic. It's hit the iceberg. Me and Bobby are going to walk. We're going to pick up our gold and silver. We're going to walk to the lifeboat and say, lower us down now. But there's no, why? Well, because you hit the iceberg and there's water coming in the boat. We're getting the fuck off now. We can think stoically and realize that if the boat hits the iceberg and the water's coming in, it's going to sink the boat. So let us out now. If they keep printing the dollars and everybody wants gold and nobody wants the dollar, let us off to the lifeboat now, and the lifeboat here is gold. I don't agree with him that it'll go slowly because look at the panic in the Titanic. Once people realize, then there was the panic, and there will be a panic here as the central banks try to buy gold. There's not that much out there. There's 250,000 tons. That's it. That's not a lot. And Russia and China have 100,000 of the tons already. So that leaves you 150,000 tons, of which the other central banks probably have 60, 70,000 tons of it. So when I buy 2 ounces or 1.5 ounces or 2/4 ounces, that's not a ton. A ton is 32,000 ounces. And they're buying the bars, right? They're not buying little coins going, oh, look, it says 1 ounce of gold on it. They're buying a bar that says 9999. What is it? 1,000 ounces of gold, whatever is a bar. So keep that in mind. The central banks, they know their money is worthless, are buying the gold because they're not stupid. And that's what you need to do. So that was Egon. I found that yesterday, 2 days ago. Comments are turned off, so I can't really comment on it. But see, that's the thing. So they don't really understand supply chain has got nothing to do with, there's no such thing as deflation. If prices go down, prices go down. If the Mahomes card's 5,000 goes to 4,000, it's because there's no demand. And there's no demand because people can't afford it. So the people that could buy it can't buy it because there's a lot less money I have to do it. And then it'll be priced in gold, which is what nobody understands. So it's worth, let's say, 5,000 now, goes to zero in dollars, and then gets priced as a 1/2 ounce of gold, which will be $5,000, let's say. And that's what'll happen. You'll go to the grocery store with nickel and dime silver coins, just like you had before. Nickel, dime, quarter. You want eggs, it's a nickel. And everything will be priced in gold and silver. And they'll just have to develop the price for it. That's what they'll do. McGuire turned the comments off so he won't get the hell. No. That's Egon turned the comments off. Let's go to Mark McGuire.
Are you still interested in a solar
So
generator?
this is how I rip Mark McGuire. Mark McGuire has this.
As we outlined in our last.
Mark McGuire has this guy on from Texas about gold. And he's been trying to fight gold and for 30 years. And my point is very simple. You'll love my points. Here's my first point. And I'll read it to you. Why do you keep talking paper gold instead of real physical gold? Why does the Fed have to reprice gold? Just let the market do it like every other asset. Next comment. Why do we keep using the paper price? It's such BS. You lie about a lot. We need a free. This is not yesterday's. Let's go to yesterday. Okay.
What I had to say was not allowed to be heard, and they just wouldn't put it.
Okay, this is yesterday's. He's saying how undervalued it is. This is like a guy from Texas who's been fighting the feds. It's like fighting the mafia. Yeah, I'm going to fight the mafia for them to do it. Mark McGuire's turning into Danny DeVito. Mark McGuire is really, I don't know if I can listen to him anymore. Here's my comments. You'll love this one, Bobby. Andy, shake my head. Wait, it's a read more. Okay, look at all the bullshit. So I'm going to read it to you. Andy, shake my head. You don't understand the game. Who benefits from a low gold and silver price? People who want to buy it. You keep referring to the paper price. You need to ask the question, why is there no physical price? Real physical price is about $2,000 silver, $25,000 gold, based on 20% inflation, which is the printing of the dollar to zero. It's all a moot point since soon the U.S. and euro will have no value and gold and silver will be the value. You really need an Austrian economics course that I teach. The professor, shake my head, stop beating your head against the wall. Or no, that I do. The professor, stop shaking your, shake my head, stop. I get you in as much as I can, Bobby. Stop beating your head against the wall. Laugh out loud. What a stupid video. Here's a good one. Kings of wasting time. Yeah, I like that one. That's not my comment. I think oh, here you go. Here's my next comment. Where do you find these guys? Shake my head. Another idiot. Popular demand. What a joke. The professor knows what the fuck is going on. I want him on. Talking to myself, saying, look, there's this guy professor who teaches it. You don't even understand it. He made a comment early on. Everybody's heard of this guy. So I say, I haven't heard of this guy. Who is this guy? He's some gold guy. They made a big deal. And I hate when Sean, the bald guy, keeps saying, well, he's not by popular demand. What kind of popular demand? Yeah, let's have some idiot on. Never heard of this guy. So since 1999, he knows about paper gold and nothing's been done about the Ponzi scheme. You need Russia and BRICS to blow it up. The banks control the U.S. government. So what are you expecting to happen? It's if we watch the movie, the Madoff movie on Netflix, what do we got? We got the guys from Boston complaining to the whatchamacallit, the SEC. Hey, he's scamming, he's doing this, he's doing that, and they're ignoring it. Well, why? Because they're on the payroll. They're, of course, going to ignore it because their lawyer is the one working with Madoff. So they're never going to do anything. So my point with gold is you're dealing with the mafia and JP Morgan and, the Russians. You'll never get the real gold price. You'll never get rid of the price fix. So you're banging your head against the wall since 1999. What the fuck do you think's going to happen? Do you think the SEC is going to do anything against Madoff? No. And my bitch about Madoff, if he would have just went to JP Morgan instead of involving the feeder funds and just said, print me money and I'll give you a percentage, he never would have been found out. And that's what's happening now. Now they're printing money and there is no people giving him money to get the investment. Basically, they're printing money. If Madoff would have got them to print the money, he would have had all the money he needed and he would have paid the guys and he'd have made a fortune with JP Morgan. Instead, he got caught because he couldn't get any money in. Well, that's what the government's doing now. All the governments in the world are printing money, printing money, printing money. It's all a Ponzi scheme. That's where I'm getting it from. So, again, here's this idiot, some gold guy who doesn't understand what the fuck he's talking about. So this is the problem with Mark McGuire. There's my negative. Thanks, Bill, for fighting these criminal clowns all the time. Yeah, but what good is it? You can't. It's like fighting Alabama. Alabama should have got the offensive pass interference call. The guy pushed off to catch the ball, but you know what? It's Alabama. You're not going to get the flag. Just like we saw in the hit on Daniels for LSU. They knocked him out, and it was a dirty hit, helmet to the chin, and, of course, no penalty. So you got to realize that you're in a Ponzi scheme. You can't win. You can't fight them. All you can do is buy gold and silver quietly and get out of the paper, which is what we do. So we sell this for gold and silver at a ridiculously low price, especially silver at $25 an ounce and $2,000 an ounce for gold. We get rid of this because this has no value. Only nobody knows it but us. It has zero value. The reason it works is because you get paid in that, and then you go pay your bills in that, and they take it, and you go to the grocery store and to dinner, and they accept the dollar because they have to. That's why it has value. But as soon as they stop accepting it, then it's gone. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be gone. And that's what you got to do. So Mark McGuire his guests are almost unlistenable to, and he keeps doing it. I don't know why. All this guy said is, well, this is what I've been doing since 1999. We don't care about that. What Mark McGuire doesn't understand is we want to know what's going on in Russia and COMEX and when's it going to blow up and why. And I'm so tired of it. It's not gold going up. It's the dollar going down. Well, the dollar's going down and Coca-Cola and Oreos are going up, but the gold and the silver aren't. Why is silver 25? You think that's the real price? Bullshit. That's not the real price of silver is $2,000 an ounce right now. But where are you going to find it? And how do you get to it? And the only way to get to it is by BRICS blowing up the system, saying we're coming out with gold-backed currency and silver because our ruble is going to shit as the Chinese yen's going to shit, and we're coming out with this gold-backed currency. And by the way, as you heard Egon say the same thing, that'll force the price up because the demand will go up and the price goes up and it'll go to the moon. And once the gates open and the people realize you've hit the iceberg and realize that means the water's coming into the boat and the boat's going to sink. So once people realize the dollar's worthless, then everybody runs to gold and silver, and the price does not go up slowly. It goes up very quickly because first of all, you can't print it, which is why governments don't like it. So the question maybe you ask is, why aren't we on the gold standard? Because the governments don't like it, because they're all crooks and they want to be able to print money. The problem is they're idiots. They're all attorneys, and they sit there and go, Well, we'll just print money. They don't realize that you can't. You can print a little, which is why it's been okay. But look at 1971, the price of a hamburger is probably 60 cents at the diner, right? And now it's like $7 at the diner, if it's even, if you can compare it. A house I think was $3,000 or $4,000 is now $300,000. That's your value. So maybe look at the price of houses. Okay, what was a house in 1971 when we were on the gold standard? What's the price of the house now? Is 400,000. That's how much the dollar's been devalued. But why isn't gold gone through the roof? Because they're suppressing it. So all we're saying is, give me the real price of gold, not the suppressed price. Why do you guys keep looking at the suppressed price like you think that's the real price? Why is anybody listening to gold and silver at these paper prices thinking they're the real price of gold and silver? What is wrong with you? If it's suppressed, it's not the real price. The real price is the physical price, which we don't have. Why is nobody using it? Because the mafia, aka the government, same thing, doesn't want gold and silver to go up, because then you won't buy the dollars and they can't play the Ponzi scheme. So Madoff likes you in the Ponzi scheme. Give me money and you're in it. And then I need your money to pay other people. See, that's the key. Madoff wants you in the Ponzi scheme. Attack on Wall Street guys want you in the Ponzi scheme. We put you in the super housing fund. And the guy, I was watching it yesterday. It was cool. So he says, your company put me in the super housing fund. And, and the guy's trying to say, well, you win or you lose. That's gambling. And it's like, that's not gambling when you're cheating. If you got the ace on the bottom and you're using it when you need it, that's not investing. That's not fair investing. And what I didn't like about the movie is they're trying to say like, well, that's capitalism. It's the survival of the fittest. Not by cheating, by being honest. That's capitalism. That's the whatchamacallit, that's the competition. The competition's got to be honest. It can't be. You can't have crooked competition. That throws you off. But if it's honest competition, you can do that. But that's basically what's happening. You've got the mafia running the banks, which run the government. They print the money and they don't realize it's worthless. So instead of buying gold, well, that's too much. We can just print the money. Why do we need gold? Because the money, as you print $35 trillion in debt, which is going from 2% to 5%. So how many different animals do you have to see before you realize you're at the zoo? In other words, the dollar's collapsed. Oh, you don't believe me? The debt's $35 trillion and going to go up because interest rates, thanks to the Fed, have gone from 0% to 5%. All my bonds are at 0%. I got to refinance them. So now it's 5%. Oh, where am I going to get that money from? I'll print it. There's a point you can't print it anymore. The Romans would have done it. You can't just keep printing the dollar. The Germans in 1923, what did they do? They were printing $1 billion a day, which is a lot in 1923. It didn't help at all. All it did was make it worse because it made it where you couldn't do it. You would lose value. The more you print, you lose value. Venezuela, they're in hyperinflation and they keep coming out with a new dollar and it's not backed by gold and it's hyper. They don't learn. They've ruined their country. Argentina ruined their country. Greece, Sri Lanka, all these countries, Pakistan, are ruined because they got to go to gold. But the U.S. is sitting there, won't let you go on gold, or they're going to kill you until they get to Russia and China. And you can't. We're already at war with Russia about it. They just don't want to tell you about it. That's the real reason of the U.S.-Russia war. Is Russia wants the gold-backed currency, and the U.S. doesn't want them to have it. And Russia says, fuck it, our ruble's gone. You've sanctioned us. So, yeah, it will. And what are you going to do about it? And the U.S., we have no military. The military's gone. All the weapons have been sent to the Ukraine or left in Afghanistan. there is no more weapons. Yeah, we have Navy ships, but basically we've given all our weapons away. We have no military. It's gone. We're not a strong military country. And if you don't have any money, if the money is worthless, you don't have a military because they're not gonna risk their life for nothing. How are you gonna feed them? So the whole thing's collapsing on purpose, I think, by the Chinese and the Russians who are running the U.S. Now you have this war in Israel. It almost sounds like what you're trying to do is bankrupt everybody. Think about it. So Israel's going to war. Wars cost a lot of money. You need the shells, you need the tanks, the planes. You got to feed the soldiers. And now the whole Middle East is going to attack. But wait a minute. So they got to get military and they got to get weapons. So that's going to cost them. You can't even buy it from us anymore. I mean, I'm sure we're selling it to the Middle East, to both sides, but you can't even sell it because we don't have it and we can't make them. It takes too long to make. You can't just make an airplane or a boat or a tank or the missiles or rocket launchers. You can't just make them in 5 minutes. They take like a year to make. So we've run out. We've given them all to the Ukraine supposedly, and what we left in Afghanistan, which was not it was not an accident. It was done on purpose. So that's what you have. You have big problems, and yeah, and so you got guys like McGuire who doesn't understand. Even an alligator, it's the same bullshit. It's not the gold going up. Yes, it is at this point because it's been suppressed. Gold is not a $2,000 an ounce asset, and there's no problem if it goes to 50,000 an ounce. What's the problem? Oh, that means the world's collapsed. Well, hello, the world is collapsed. The dollar is useless. China and Russia are taking over, so you might as well have a good gold price and have gold to at least be able to survive it, because otherwise you can't bury your head in the sand. You can't go, well, we don't really want the gold price to go up. We want it to go to where the real physical price is. Never buy ETFs and gold stocks. Forget about it. Get out of the stock market. It's collapsing because as the rates go up, the countries do, the companies do the line of credit. It's going to cost them a lot more. They're all going to go out of business. Nobody's going to Disney. The only thing that'll stay is Coke and Pepsi because they're cheap items that people will be buying. So you go to the grocery store and it's going to be Fritos and Coke and Oreo cookies. And Cheerios. That's going to be your grocery shop. For me, it'll be fruit and veggies. Meat still reasonably priced. I can still get hamburger at $5-6 a pound. I got New York strips at $8.99 a pound. I got my roast was I think $6 a pound. So I look what's on sale. To me, it all I'm a good cook, so I can put my cinnamon and my stuff on it, and it tastes fine. So when is silver going up? As gold goes up, Bobby, the central banks will make it go up, and that's what happens. So again, the most critical thing I want you to learn and understand is this: inflation is printing the dollar to zero. You can't keep printing it, and it hasn't gone away, and it will never go away. The only thing that can stop it is gold. So you can't have the dollar and think, oh, the inflation's down now because prices have gone down. That's irrelevant. Prices are controlled by us. There's no such thing as deflation. If your house is worth 300 grand, it's now worth 200,000. That's what the market says. There's no such thing as deflation. Okay, you want to call it deflation, is prices going down, but that's the way the market works. Prices go up, prices go down in a market. If you have a shortage of supply, prices go up because of bad small supply. That's the market. That's you're trying to call it inflation, deflation, but that's not what it is. Inflation is only about printing the money. That's it. There's no other thing. You can create all you want, but that you're wrong. It's only printing the money. And once you've printed it, the cat's out of the bag. The Pandora's box is open, let's say. So you've already printed all this money. It's out there, and you got $90 trillion and foreign that's about to come home and collapse the housing market and the stock market and the banks, because they'll realize it's in U.S. dollars and the central banks don't want to deal with it. You think the regular people? Well, who do you think has all the money? It's the banks. The banks control everything. It's the most corrupt method we have, this Keynesian communist system that we're all under, that they're not telling us. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's Keynesian economics. It's communist. Shh. Oh, we'll call it MMT. Oh, by the way, Austrian economics has been proven wrong. By whom? Well, you out of your fucking mind? It's the only thing that works. So they want you in the Ponzi scheme. They want you in so the government can control you. They want you to own dollars, not gold, because it's better for them. They want you in the matrix. They don't want you out. And it's my goal to get you out. And the only way out, the only other currency, the only option you have is gold and silver. The boat's sinking. The only option you have is to get into the lifeboat and wait for the Carpathia to show up. That's you're not going to swim. It's 20 degrees, the water. You can't stay on the boat. It's sinking. The water's filling up. You have no option. This is the boat. It's sinking. You have no option. This is going to zero. There is no way you can stop it. The only chance you have is gold and silver. Oh, but that doesn't have a value because we've been so why are you suppressing it? A, why are you suppressing it if it's got no value and it doesn't serve a purpose? Why the fuck are you suppressing it? B, wait a minute, why does Russia own 32,000 tons, China own 60,000 tons, and all the other central banks in the world like this, Netherlands, why are they all getting on a gold standard and buying gold to protect themselves if gold's not the answer? Maybe gold is the answer. Okay. So it's sort of like the idiot coaches that keep going for it on fourth down, not realizing when they don't make it, it's a turnover, not realizing it's not 100%. It's maybe 30%. And it depends on the team. You watch, you go against Kansas City or Denver today or Cleveland, you're not making it. Maybe 1 in 20, you're going to make it. And if you don't make it, it's a turnover. And I don't know what game I was watching yesterday, but they went for it, didn't make it. It was a turnover. Might have been the Washington game. But anyway, that's your economics lesson today. I know we've been talking a lot of football with all the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and now Sunday games, which we went over. Again, your free play is Kansas City and Oakland under. We're betting against O'Connell, saying he sucks. And Kansas City's not really scoring, and Oakland's got a pretty good defense. KC's got a very strong defense. Over with Buffalo, over with Baltimore, over with San Diego, over with Philadelphia, which are basically the same game, and the Bears. So that's your late games. So keep that in mind. You really want to know what's happening, right? If you're married, you want to know, oh, my spouse is cheating on me or not. Or maybe you don't care if your spouse cheats on you. But you want to know that. You don't want to be in the dark, right? You don't want to be your head buried in the sand. If you don't buy gold and silver now, you're not going to buy it later when the price goes to 10, 20,000. Oh, Howard, we don't believe that the price is going up. It hasn't gone up, da-da-da-da-da. Well, okay, take a look at Russia, China, and he just talked about the Europe, everybody in Europe going on the gold standard. Why would they do that? And the price has to go up, and nobody wants to own the dollar. As nobody wants the dollar goes to zero because it has no value. The fact it's the reserve currency doesn't mean shit. The fact that supply chain is dropping and they can't get the stuff in because everybody's going broke doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean the price go up. You can why don't they mark a 2 liter of Pepsi for $10 at the grocery store? Because nobody will buy it. Nobody's buying it at $2.99. They've lowered it to $2.79. Why? Because nobody's paying. They're saying, fuck it, I don't want it. So it's all based on demand. Why gold? Everybody loves gold. Everybody wants gold. They can tell you nobody wants it, but it ain't true. They can tell you there's no inflation. They're full of shit. They can tell you inflation's based on prices. They're full of shit. That's not real. They can tell you the sky is red or green. Let's say the sky's green and the grass is blue. They can tell you that. Unless you're an idiot, you know you can't believe it. So you've got to not trust anything the Ponzi scheme says, which is the government. They're Ponzi scheming you. It's ridiculous. You can't fight it though, like this idiot on Mark McGuire where he's trying to fight it and nothing's happening. You can't fight them because they control everything. They control the courts. They control everything. So you can't fight what they're doing. The only option you have is to don't play anymore. Take your ball and go home. And in this case, I'm going to take my ball. And when I go home, I'm getting rid of this and buying gold and silver. That's how I take my ball and go home. Fine. I don't want this. They're not worth anything. They're losing their value. They're going to zero. That's a certainty. Every currency in the history of life that was not backed by gold went to zero. This is not backed by gold. It's going to zero. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's what will happen. So the way to get out of the game and take your ball and go home is to go buy gold and silver. I do not sell it. I'm not selling at these prices anyway, but I buy gold and silver, and I'm not a stacker. I'm a collector. I hate that term. It's bullshit. So that's why you do it, and you just buy as much as you can because it's going to be worth a fortune. So why not buy more? Why hold on to the dollar? If you got $500, go buy 20 ounces of silver. Go buy a quarter ounce of gold. Yes, Bobby, General Chow last night. I'll show you what it looks like without the sauce. So I have them keep the sauce on the side. So this is what the General looks like. The whole thing gets full. I ate a lot yesterday. I was hungry. So I just have a little bit left. But yeah, I'll have General Chow, and I still got some of my roast. That'll be that. I had a pumpkin pie, but it was 8 inches. And it actually lasted 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I tried to be good. And chocolate. So now I'm feeling too much sugar, so I will be careful with sugar for the next week or so. And that's what's happening. So, watched a lot of football, went to the pool. Daria's got a flu. She still has it. She went to the doctor. I think she goes back to work tomorrow if she can. She says she's a little weak and tired. Yesterday, she must be because I gave her money to go shopping, and she hasn't gone yet. And then Jenna says she's got high blood pressure problems. She keeps blaming the weather, and I keep saying it's sugar, and she won't listen to me. She says, no, it's the weather. It's cold. It's rainy here. And I go, I think it's the sugar. You're probably drinking a lot. So I'm hoping Jenna's okay. I'm still waiting for when we're meeting. She said December. We'll know soon. Daria, I'm waiting on the passport, and I'm excited to meet her. And that's my travel plans. Otherwise, I didn't have that interview with the law firm last week. It's now Monday. I said, what happened? Well, somebody couldn't make it. And I'm like, well, thanks for telling me. So in a stoic point of view, I don't even want to deal with this guy. They schedule a meeting and then they cancel. They don't tell me they're canceling the meeting. So I'm sitting there. Now I was home anyway because it was after swimming. I'm eating dinner and I'm watching a movie. So I don't really care. It's not like I stayed home for him, but it's not good when you don't do it. And then we still have the thing of the salary. It's a finance manager. So at a law firm. So I'm going to give him hell tomorrow. Like, are you out of your fucking mind giving me, $21 an hour? I'm assuming it's a misprint and it's really supposed to be $61 an hour. And I want to hear him squirm, but I really don't want to work for a law firm. I don't like lawyers. They're all criminals. They all work for the government. So I don't have any interest in that. And I get my Social Security and I got all my gold and silver. So I'm really fine. So I can pick and choose my job if I need one, but as soon as gold goes to the moon, we won't need a job anyway. So that's what's going on personally. Huge Webster week. 3 locks win: Oregon, Ohio State, and the UNLV over. And then tonight we have, today we have 1 lock and a couple of good plays, mostly in the afternoon. I didn't do much I hit the Dallas, the Frisco, the Miami under, just losing to Detroit, which I don't think they'll win a game the rest of the year. The pathetic, look at this, Atlanta, New Orleans, Pitt, Cincy, Carolina, Tennessee, Tampa, Indy, New England, the Giants, and Jacksonville, Houston. Whoever is running these teams does not have a fucking clue in their head, right? Indy drafted Richardson, and he's running, and they don't get, you can't win with the running quarterback, and he gets hurt because he's too stupid to slide. And if you watch Jordan Travis, any of these quarterbacks that don't slide are out of their fucking minds. He's gone. He won't play again. He got Mackenzie Milton. When you see the leg going this way in the foot, you're done. You're not going to play. I don't know how the bone broke in half. I don't even know how you can heal it and be strong enough. So he's done. Gabriel looked good for Oklahoma. I do like that. So we got the next week's games we'll talk about during the week. Tomorrow we'll recap everything. I'll update my college stats, and then we'll get ready for these games, and then we'll get ready for the bowls. Playoffs should be Georgia. I'm not sure Florida State can win without Travis. So it'll probably be Georgia, Oregon, Michigan, and I would assume Texas. If Texas wins, they got to go ahead of Alabama. Unless Alabama beats Georgia, then you're going to have Georgia and Alabama in with Michigan and Oregon. I hope not. I hope Alabama doesn't keep sneaking in with this bullshit. That was clearly a loss to Auburn. It was clearly a push off, and it was a money call. It was like, no, we got to get Alabama into the playoffs. It's worth $10 million to us. So, no, I didn't see a push off. So that's what it is. You put whipped cream on. I put Cool Whip on the pie and chocolate ice cream. So I bought a thing of chocolate, whatever, Hudsonville or one of these cheap ones. So I had slice of pumpkin pie. So I had an 8-inch pie, 8-ounce pie, not too big. Had 4 pieces. So I had a piece, had a small piece, put some chocolate ice cream on it and the Cool Whip. Kind of mixed it up. It's a good chocolate goes well with the pumpkin pie. See, normally I would prefer just one piece of the pie, not the whole pie. But it's Thanksgiving, so it was like, that's how you fuck yourself up. You go, well, it's a holiday, and so Thursday, and then but I was good. Normally I would have eaten the whole fucking pie Thursday. So I did have Friday, and then I did have Saturday. I showed extreme patience. Feel a little bit too much sugar, so I gotta, that's why. So, but then today I don't have the sugar. I haven't eaten anything. It's 1:40. I got to go very soon to get to the club before they close at 4:30. I didn't even go Thursday. They closed the club at 1:30 for Thanksgiving, which I don't understand. The reason of the closure, you're a health club. You're not an office. Anyway, so what we can see, because of them printing the dollars, the economy's crap because the dollar isn't worth anything. So again, just real quietly, go buy gold and silver, put it in the safe, put it where a safe place, and we'll all meet in Switzerland and meet with Egon and start cashing our gold and silver in. It's as much as you can afford. buy it, buy a lot of it, because you don't know how much you need, but why not buy $25 silver that'll be worth 2,000? JP Morgan cannot keep holding it. They want to hold it. They make a lot of money by keeping it at 25 and doing these derivatives. And it's working for now, but soon it won't. Once gold busts loose, silver busts loose, and you'll be seeing. And what I don't like from Mark McGuire, he's like, "Oh, it might have $100 an ounce." Again, you're talking paper gold. Why are you talking derivative silver? Why aren't you talking physical silver? Why are we even using a paper price? Why is the derivative price the price that people go by? Are you out of your fucking minds? So because it's $25 in COMEX, everybody just believes that's the price? This is how stupid people are and how controlled people are. People cannot think on their own. They're not stoic, which is why I keep sharing stoic with you. People should have their own mind and their own set of values and associate with other people with their own set of values, have the same set of values as you, and that includes men and women. So if you have a girlfriend, she should have the same value as you. And, hopefully hot as hell, but the same values. That's why I could not date a communist. I could not date a girl who's not into gold. I couldn't even date her. That would end it right there. You don't believe in gold. You got your money. Okay. I don't care how hot you are. See you later. Fortunately, most of the European girls fully understand gold. They get it. The U.S. girls, they're just really don't understand anything. They want money. They don't get it. They're not even interested in understanding gold and silver and money and inflation. They don't, it's way over their head. So what are you going to do with these girls? You just shake your head, Bobby. You just shake your head. Anyway, that's all it is. Let's go watch some football. It's almost 2:00. I could care about the only game I think I like that I have any action on is Pitt Cincinnati. I played the game under. That's the only thing I have now. And then all the fun starts this after at 4:00. So I'm going to go and get a nice workout in. And I need food. I don't have an avocado. I'm running out of salad. I do have a little bit of roast and some sliced turkey I got. I need my bananas. I don't have my chocolate. I notice when I don't have my dark chocolate, I have this sweet tooth, and I'll want to stop at the grocery store and get a donut or something because I don't have my chocolate. So I got to make sure I have my dark chocolates, which satisfies my sweet tooth. But it's only 10% sugar. It's 90% cocoa. And yes, cocoa you want dark chocolate. The cocoa is very, very healthy for you, as is honey. I mean, but you gotta be careful with the sugar in the honey. But keep with the lemon, keep with the ginger, keep with the cinnamon. The cinnamon's really the key because it gives you that sweet taste, but it's very healthy for you. I guess that's it. Eat something quick and then off to the gym. Good luck today. Again, the one lock and then the free play of Kansas City under. I was excited. I hit 3-0 on my locks. I knew Oregon was in. Ohio State, I was shaking. And then UNLV, I had no idea. I knew San Jose State. It's explosive, both teams. It was a low number at 57. I needed 51 or 52. And like I said, I didn't see till the game was over, and it was 37-31. It was a 68. I needed 52. That's how I like it. These total games, I just want to see the end score. I don't want to see it. And this is where I got revenge from the Washington-Oregon State game when instead of taking Washington, I took it over and it didn't get there. I was thinking under in the Michigan-Ohio State game, and it would have went over on that last field goal at the end. It was 46 and a half. It was 52 and a half, 53. And that put it at 54. And I felt very like, yes, I had the tease the dog in the Michigan-Ohio State game, wins again. So having the 9.5, I was a little disappointed. I was hoping Ohio State would have come down and won the game. This is the first time you actually see what Michigan is. Offensively, they're good. Defensively, you can get on them. Georgia will get on. Oregon will. Bo Nix. Good luck with Bo Nix. They're lucky they don't have a TCU. They got an Oregon and a Georgia that's going to give them all they want. They can handle Alabama because Milrose can't do anything. Georgia, they're in big trouble. Oregon, they're in big trouble. Texas would give them hell. They'd have trouble against Oklahoma with their quarterback, and they'd have trouble with Arizona. So Oregon, Washington, either one. I think they could beat Washington easier than Oregon. I don't think Washington can beat Oregon. Not the way Oregon's playing. It's a revenge game. I look for them to kill. And Michigan gets Iowa. What kind of crap is that? Who's the idiot still thinking of that? We'll have the East play the West in the Big Ten. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State here, and Iowa. Did they even win 5 games? I mean, they're going to get killed. So we get revenge on Iowa. But anyway, you're not going to see a 20-point game. The 35 over-under is a joke. That'll easily Michigan will all you tease it down to 29 is all you need. Michigan will get into the 40s without a problem against Iowa. Look at it. Ohio State had a better defense than Iowa, and they scored 30-24. So you're looking at 30 at least, and that gets you over is 29. Iowa won't score. They have no offense, not against this team. And Michigan will probably get some pick sixes or something. Anyway, only a professor can switch subjects like I do and still be coherent. So good luck today. www.teaserking.com. The lock's going at 4 o'clock if you want it. You missed the first 3, so I'm not sure. And anyway, have a good day. Good luck. We will talk. Tomorrow will be a normal time. It's when the football games are early, like yesterday, like Friday, I'm going to come in and talk the football first. Today we got in some economics. I wanted to talk economics yesterday, but I noticed there was nobody there. So I said, fuck it, I'll talk it today. But I did want to show Egon, which I found yesterday riding the bike. So have a wonderful day. Good luck today. Hope you make some money. www.teaserking.com. Okay, Bobby, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. I guess right around 1 o'clock, 1:30. I like going to the pool at 10:30. Leaving at 10's been hard, so it's been 10:30 to about 11:30, home at 12. If I stop at the grocery store, that's why it's a little bit later. And I got to stop at the grocery store today. I have nothing to eat. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. See you later. Buy your gold and silver. You don't really have a choice. Central banks are all buying gold. It can only demand will force the price up. It'll blow up COMEX. Even if it doesn't, the dollar's going to zero. There's no way it can't. So don't listen to the Ponzi schemes. Don't listen to Madoff. All right, that's your problem. Don't listen to Assault on Wall Street, guys. Okay. All right. www.teaserking.com. Okay. Take care, everybody.